I'm Vee, founder of Vee. It is a safe space to heal with me. I used to be an ex-police officer and I'm also a third culture kid. Okay, so growing up in Singapore, I feel that it was quite pressurizing. It seemed as if everyone has to fit into a specific kind of social standard, and grades matter a lot. And it's sort of expected that, you need to go to university after that and you need to have a decent paying job, like the stereotypical kind of lifestyle. But I already moved out of that by moving to China. And actually it was against my will. I really was not happy having to move to China because of family matters. But then that's when life took quite of a big change for me.
Why did you move to China?
It was because of my parents actually. My dad has been living in China since I was in primary 1. But then stuff happened, So my parents decided that it would be in the family's best interest if we all move together and start to rebuild our family again. So I remember I was in secondary 2, taken out of school at about February, and by August, I became secondary 3 in a completely foreign environment. So picture this, I am one out of the less than 10 Singaporeans in an international school taught by mostly Caucasians, surrounded by mostly Koreans in China.
Wow.
So that was quite a different kind of way of life that I was suddenly exposed to, which actually it taught me how to relax a little more and stray a bit from the norm. I was told that I was studying too hard and doing things too fast. So it was really unnatural for me, and it made me realize that, oh wow, so the Singaporean way of life, or at least the life that I was exposed to in Singapore, was not the norm for everybody else, and that it's okay to do things a bit different. I came back after 4 to 5 years of being in China. It was really difficult for me to adapt back to Singapore because, there was this whole course about helping a third culture kid assimilate back into their home country, or maybe to the US or to Korea or to wherever we decided to go to for our degree. So at least I know that I'm not alone in trying to adapt, and I had a heads up that it's going to be a bit challenging. So things that I found a bit hard to get used to was the fashion sense. The fashion sense, I realized that people were mistaking me for a foreigner, and they asked me, where are you from? Fellow Singaporeans were asking me, where are you from? And I was like, I'm one of you. And they said, don't lie. I was literally told, don't lie. And that was a problem that I did not expect to run into. But yeah, one of them nonetheless. And also, I really tried very hard to fit in, because in Singapore they have it seemed as if they had a certain way of life that I suddenly wasn't used to again. And it felt like I stood out from the rest in a not very good way. Also because I skipped a year, so the friends that I had in Singapore, they're not in university yet. And I had to make friends from scratch once again. I had to do that in China, I had to do that again in Singapore. I was thinking, how many times more do I need to keep adapting and trying to fit in to make sure I don't stick out too much as the only one of the few Singaporeans in China, and one of the this weird outlier here in my university. It's without effort, I just seemed different, and the way I communicated with people, the way I dressed, the way I appeared and spoke was quite different, and I had to try to find a balance in how to remain authentically me but also fit in at the same time. So I don't think I actually managed to find a sweet spot during university days. When I was young, I actually really wanted to be not a police officer but an author, but those dreams were kind of crushed. Actually, when I went to China, I stopped writing stories for a bit, but when I had to select a university, I remember my mom was saying, what do you like to do? You like to talk, right? Go to mass comm, study mass communication, and maybe you'll be able to write there as well. So I thought, okay, maybe I can rekindle my love for writing. But when I went there and I realized that journalism was not what I thought writing was, I had my hopes shattered and I didn't know what I want to do anymore. The idea of police officer only came after I met a guy that really wasn't good for me. I was in the process of trying to find like my next dream other than writing, because that didn't work out, and I thought of going into acting. But this guy came into the picture and I sort of allowed him to convince me that acting was not meant for me, even though it was the only thing that kept me going, kept me really happy. And that acting was the only place where I felt like I could find my sense of self again that I've lost all those years. But then my choice of guy ended up pushing me away from whatever I thought was finding myself. And I just tried desperately to find something that perhaps would be more accepted by him and by others. I tried to suggest to him, oh, maybe I could try like working at a hotel, or maybe a air stewardess or other stuff like that, because I was quite a people's person. But I was convinced by him that that's not a stable way to live, and I should find something stable and expose myself to less men. Yeah, so that wasn't really what I had in mind, but that happened, and I ended up having my list of potential careers like shrinking and shrinking and shrinking until I thought that, because he was also in the enforcement line, so I thought if I do something in the enforcement line, maybe we'll be able to communicate better and I'll be able to understand his thought processes more. But I was scolded for that, and yeah, so that wasn't really what I wanted to do anyway. It was just like I was pushed into this direction. But in the end, we broke up. But before we broke up, I ended up somewhere else. So I spent most of my time just job hopping because I was clueless. But one day when I sat down and thought about, what should I do? Maybe I need to take myself back to university days. And that's when I realized that, oh, I was supposed to be a police officer if not for that guy, because that was the last conclusion that I had, like, oh, maybe I want to be a police officer instead. Yeah, so I actually ended up trying to go down that route since no one was stopping me anyway. But I think, thinking about it now, part of me wanted to be a police officer because I was trying to prove something to me and the people around me. I've been an only child, and I think there's a bit of a social stigma surrounding that. Like, people sort of think that an only child could likely be spoiled, pampered, needs to be taken care of. And I could see that around me actually. Like, lots of people have said, and I have felt, that they want to take care of me. And it has never really been a case of me being able to take care of someone else, even though I really, really wanted to. And I felt that I was capable of doing that. But years of being in toxic situations with certain friends and certain boyfriends, I think I allowed those incidents to make me feel like I can't really do that. So in a spur of the moment, I guess, when I was thinking about what I should do next, I decided that being a police might actually help me to find that ground to say, yes, I can also take care of people and myself. But I think maybe that's not really my calling at the end of the day. It was just like, due to certain circumstances that forced me in a certain direction. After that, my mental health took quite a toll during my policing days. It's not easy. I really respect my fellow colleagues, like ex-colleagues who are still there. But yeah, there was a moment in time where I was contemplating death on a daily basis, and like it wasn't healthy. And I guess I realized I didn't want to continue being in that state anymore. So I voiced out to my superiors, and they did the necessary, and I went to seek the necessary help. I am currently still in my own therapy, but I'm definitely way out of the suicidal zone. Yes, it is possible to get out of there. And so that forced me to kind of slow down and stop job hopping and relationship hopping actually, because that's what I've been doing. I couldn't really hold down a job or a relationship for various reasons, and I kept feeling like there's something wrong with me. But I realized that it's also because I've been letting life happen to me, but not letting myself take charge of my life. So this time to slow down and leaving the police force allowed me to rethink how I want to spend the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so I decided that actually what matters a lot to me is mental health and genuine happiness, doing what you believe in and not because society or the people around you expect you to be a certain way or do certain things in a certain manner. Yeah, so that's why I created Infinity. The name itself suggests that there are infinite ways to heal, not just one hard and fast rule in life. You can really explore what could work for you, and I'll be here holding space for whoever needs it. Yeah, so now I do sound healing, and which involves some chakra work and deep reflection. So it helped me find more peace within myself, and so far I think I've been able to help a couple of people gain some clarity, and I always believe that the answers are within them, just like how the answers were within me. Just that we need to slow down and allow ourselves to have that space to really just be and stop doing. I've been wanting to do this for maybe about a year or at least half a year, but I just didn't have the courage to do so because, yeah, once again, it's challenging the norms. What would my family say? What would my boyfriend say? But then I got hospitalized early this year, and the ridiculous thing is that it was a false alarm. Be careful whoever eats red dragon fruits. You're not actually bleeding. It's it's a ridiculous little mistake. But I genuinely thought I was going to die. Like really, I thought that was the end of my life. That is the end. Like, I won't even hit 30 and I'll be dead. But then, as the heavens, I don't know. I just managed to come out of that completely unscathed, and it seemed to me that life was giving me a chance. When I was in the hospital bed, I felt like, I even told my mom, I told my boyfriend, if I make it out of this alive, I really don't want to continue living the way I have been. Because, when you think you're gonna die, life sort of flashes before your eyes, and it made me think, did I really want to live life that way without doing anything really for me? And so when I managed to get out of the hospital, I realized I had no excuse. I just had to do it. I am safe and healthy enough to proceed with whatever I want to do.
Awesome. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I'm not somebody with the highest sense of self-worth already. So it was really difficult for me to be okay with the kind of things that they're saying that they make me feel like I'm inadequate and I would not succeed and I should really just follow the status quo. How I learned to cope with that actually was talking to people that I felt were safe and reduce talking to people that I already knew were very likely to put me down. And I did a lot more inner work. I meditated, did mindfulness practices, anything that gave me inner peace. I just kept doing it more and more. And over time, I was able to, I'm not the best at it yet, but I'm able to detach. Like, when someone says a certain comment to me, it doesn't really necessarily say anything about me. I tend to take things quite personally at times, so I will really absorb all the negative comments that they say. But I soon realized, after exposing myself to all these peaceful ways of life, that it doesn't really need to mean anything to me. And I'm still free, regardless of whatever they say. I'm still free to continue choosing what I want to do and how I want to be.
Yeah, that's amazing. How did you get to that point?
It was really a gradual process, honestly. I spoke to friends who were also doing their own inner work, and actually it helps when we speak to like-minded individuals, I realized, and it made me feel like I'm supported. So when I feel supported, and I'm also able to support myself, after doing lots of meditation. Actually, it really does help. That feeling of support I get from my inner self and the few people around me was actually enough for me to arrive at this conclusion that I am free to just be. I am free to choose my own path. And it's okay that I'm not doing what other people think I should be doing. Because at the end of the day, it's my life, right? It's not theirs. They have their chance to live life the way they want to, and this is mine. Why am I still living in fear? I don't have to live in fear. This is my life. I need to take charge. If I don't take charge, what if another ex-boyfriend kind of character appears and pushes me in another direction again? Then I'll be back to square one. I don't want that. Success to me looks like being happy, genuinely happy. It's not really about money. I'm not making my business like to make money. I really want to be happy doing what I believe in and helping people with their healing journey. That's something that I genuinely believe in. So that makes me happy. And I'll just continue doing what makes me happy.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you.
journey. Oh.